change, TIF gets to build the house, or build the apartment. The second piece of this is something you have seen before, but it's phasing. There are 2 lots in the redevelopment plan, and to maximize the TIF for this project, it's pretty difficult to build 120 apartments in one, get it done in a year. So they will, as the last I knew, they would start the apartments on one lot, so we could start the TIF rolling on that and not on the second lot until they get going on that. So that's about it. It's about 2.228, and they need every penny they can because they had to get outside investors and so forth. So this is truly a redevelopment project that if they don't get TIF, they don't get the project. So be glad to answer any questions you might have. This is huge given your housing shortage. This is really necessary.
So that the multiple lots that you talked about there's
2.
There will not be any more subdivision beside those 2 lots as far as how they're going to develop?
No.
And the second lot phase when will they be done with by this plan, the second?
So they'll get underway. They won't, they'll get started this year, as I understand it, on 5 buildings. And so this is probably a 24 to 36 month roll. And so we'll get a start on this year and file a notice to divide next year and then the following. We're not gonna have completed structures this year, I don't believe. So it's a daunting task to pop up that many rooftops. So I think in terms of division of taxes, so we'll get something going vertical this year, which means we'll divide all the taxes on lot number 1, and then they'll start the next year on lot number 2, and so we'll have the division of taxes next year. So it's about a 2-year phase. So.
And so the increment will be established then by the end of 25 or 26, or what's the increment?
So we'll have, the increment will start 1/1 of 24, most likely, depending on the speed. If they don't get going this year, it'll roll forward a year. But the TIF will start 1/1 of 24 on lot 1 and likely 1/1 of 25 on lot 2. But again, if they don't get anything going that fast, you're going to have some construction demand, but I think they've got a contractor that thinks they can get going. So it won't be full incremental value because they won't be done. It'll be partial value that will be captured in the first year. Any other questions? Good questions.
So if you use your 24 to 36 months, you'd see completion of this project probably sometime by 28 at the latest.
So we're in 23. Oh, it should be, yeah. Yeah.
But with that timeline, it should be 26, shouldn't it, the completion? Or am I 1 year off?
Yeah, it's going to be a couple years. I would. How fast did the first 2 phases go?
It's about, I'd say 26.
26, yeah.
That's
Those are nice
the
units. And the clubhouse has a nice plate glass side light. I tried to exit through the side light.
How'd
It's
that
a
work out
grand
for you?
opening. It didn't work real well.
Have a new door?
And I got a shorter nose.
Those witness.
That's true. Gary's seen a lot of my sins. Whoops. Any other questions?
Questions from,
And again, they have to prove all of their costs. It's gonna be pretty simple. I mean, this is a $20 million project, and so they just gotta prove up, 2.2 or $2.3 million worth of costs, so.
okay? Thank you. So we need to consider the adopting resolution 2023-5 for this. Yeah,
So, I make a motion to consider adoption of resolution 2023-5, approving a redevelopment contract for phase 2 Victory Village, Victory Apartments development, and issuance of a tax increment revenue bond.
is there a second? Okay. Any additional discussion or questions?
Is this the first time this body has done this with workforce development housing, or this has been used before?
I think this is the first one,
No, it was used on the first phase also.
on the first phase.
First phase as well, okay.
Yeah, it was the first in North Platte.
That saw a positive outcome, in your opinion?
I think so. Because I was looking out there.
Except for that light, that translucent light, it's not a door.
Right. Just been one complaint.
My complaint.
I have no further questions.
All right. Let's vote. Roll call.
Wilkie?
Yes.
Staroska?
Yes?
Lucas?
Yes.
Patterson? Yes. Mendenhall?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, next item here is the review of the redevelopment plan and cost-benefit analysis for the Village Park Flats redevelopment project. So,
Probably ought to have somebody else talk about this here, but this is another win for single-family residences that will be phased over a number of years. It's a question of how fast they can get going, and there's been some discussion in the past about trying to put some outside parameters on the build. This is really one that's gonna be driven by market rates and demand, so you guys wanna talk about how fast you can go?
You look at me, you'll get.
Yeah, I don't care who talks.
Sure. Good morning. My name's Byron Riddle. I'm with Blue Sky Development out of Lincoln. Thanks for the opportunity to come and sit in your meeting, chat a little bit. We're really excited about the Village Park Flats opportunity. After kind of being exposed to the need here in North Platte and also understanding the amount of industry that's coming in, we knew that this was a place that we really wanted to be a part of as far as bringing housing to the market. We've tried to listen as closely as we absolutely could to what the needs are. We know there's apartment complexes and things like that going on already. So really what we're trying to do with this development is a mix of uses and price points to try to hit as much of the market as absolutely possible. So throughout the property, there's 48 single-family homes, there's 42 townhome units, and then a really kind of creative triplex opportunity that we have that'll give a lot of different entry points in pricing, and whether it's through rental or through purchase. And so we're trying to do everything we can Even though this technically wouldn't be labeled workforce housing, knowing what those limitations are and what we're going after, I think we can put a product out there that even is sitting really tight to within those parameters, so that when we're bringing this to the market, it's a place that people can dive into quick, and we can move through the thing in a way that people are getting the housing they need. I'd be willing to take any additional questions as well, that you guys might have about the development.
Is there a way to put up the map on the TVs? Anybody?
Like the city map,
The one that was in the packet?
we would have had to have voted it. so,
Okay.
Yeah, I can't put it. Sorry, if you tell me that earlier, next time we'll get it done for you.
Okay, so in the first phase,
Yeah.
is that the phase that'll have the paved alleys?
Correct.
And on those 70-foot lots, is that where the,
Yeah, so in the center there of phase one, the 70-foot lots, that's for the triplex unit that we're bringing in. They have paved alleyways, detached two-stall garages for each unit. So you've kind of got the, I grew up in Holdridge, and so I'm used to having an alley, and now that I'm in Lincoln, I would rather have it. I loved having an alley, but we're doing a paved alley with a rear entrance garage and a yard between the garage and the home unit. So that's the 70-foot lots that you see right in the middle of phase one. It'd be on the west end side, on the Dixie Avenue side is where that whole line, and then partially around the north as well, is where all the single-family will be. So we're keeping the single-family homes next to the single-family homes that already exist to the east of this property. And then on Preston Drive, on the west-hand side, that'll be mainly a row of townhome. So again, trying to keep some of that multifamily next to the multifamily unit that's already going up just to the west there of that property.
and just to make sure I'm
Yes,
tracking
sir.
with you here, and so on the single family, they'll also have a paved, so the whole development will have paved alleys, is that?
So the paved alley is a triplex unit specific type of a thing. So it's
Okay.
gonna be specifically those middle lots that you see
Those 70-foot
in the
lots.
phase one.
Okay,
You also see, and I'll just point this out real quickly, that front, it's labeled as phase four, that front, it's just a hair under 5 acres. We have not divided that out or really pieced out exactly what the official plan there is. And the main reason for that is we want to be as flexible as we can to what the market's demanding. So if there's additional need, even after this other development's run through for apartment buildings, we've got a chunk set aside that we can do that on. If the market's really demanding more townhome triplex units, we have the ability to go in and do that as well on that property. So that's why that front 5 acres has been set aside as phase four. So that as we're moving through 1, 2, and 3, we can figure out where to go with that next.
There's also a public park in this one, which is cool, and it's not a significant cost.
and is that in phase three?
The park is in phase three. Part of the rationale behind that was, we like the triplex opportunity because it does still allow families a yard, so do the townhomes. But it gives the neighborhood more of a central place for kids to go, spread out a little bit and do their thing. So it's right dead center in the middle of this redevelopment where we'll have a little bit of a community park there. Yep.
Will you guys, is that in your maintenance to maintain that park, or does that fall to the city after it's developed?
As far as I understand, that would be a city thing, Judy?
As far as I know, it's gonna be dedicated to the city at the time.
Yeah. Any other questions I could answer?
I guess my only comment, it's a great project, really,
Thank you.
a lot of options for us here. We've had a history of not having quite this many years in the phases, and
Yeah.
if you combined phase four with phase three, would that be a big problem for your development to make it happen? Or, I know there's a way that you can come back and get an extension if you
Sure.
need it.
I think it depend probably mainly on the type of structure that's gonna go in phase 4. In phase 3, we're looking at mainly some townhome and single-family options. So if we're saying that phase 4 is more of the same, then phase 4 is gonna be phase 4 from a timeline perspective as well, until we can get the guys that are working through phase. Now, if it's, we adjust and we're like, phase 4 needs to be apartments. That's where there's still demand there, there's still opportunity there, that's what the community needs. That may be a whole different subset of subcontractors on our end. So from a timing perspective, there's, and we've also kicked around the idea, if the right opportunity comes, maybe there's local investors or somebody else that really likes that phase 4 lot. Phase 4 may not be phase 4 as far as timing goes. It just might be a different phase. It could happen simultaneous to any of the others with the right opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Did you want to speak? Oh,
Well, one follow-up on this, they have enough traditional TIF that they're gonna be putting in a lot of infrastructure, so that'll most likely consume all of the TIF in this one. So,
okay.
Good morning.
Mr. Seth.
Commercial Investment Services. I wanted to throw out the investment side that we work with all the time and maybe help you understand numbers a little bit. And there is in a 70-foot lot today, your development costs are $100 a front foot. Because there's two sides of the street, it's $50, or forgive me, it's $1,000, it's $500 front foot to develop today. A 70-foot lot costs you $35,000 to develop. What do you get for that? The city gets paved street, and you get the sewer and the water. The sewer and water's placed on the property at the developer's cost. As soon as it's done, inspected by the city, which you pay for, you do a sewer inspection, water inspection, they test you, you pay them to inspect it, and then it goes to the city. First time they turned on the water, first time they use the sewer, the city starts getting money. $35,000 a lot to develop the front. They're gonna pave the alleys. So every 70 foot a developer develops, he's gonna give the city 60 foot in front of that lot for city streets, sewer and water. That's gone. You got a 16 or 20 foot alley in the back that he's gonna pave, just gets it exponentially more expensive. You got a 20 foot alley in the back, you got a 60 foot street in the front. You're giving the city 80 foot in width, paved, sewer, water, ready to go. $35,000 a lot. I didn't do the math with paving the alleys. When you get that, we haven't bought the land yet either. There's no land costs into that. So you're in a I know right away that that lot's gonna be $35,000 before I figure out how much I've paid the Hoppy family to buy it. If I take out the 60-foot width in the front, the 20-foot width, or 16 or 20-foot length in the back, best I can do mathematically at 43,560 square foot in an acre, I'm getting maybe 3.5 lots out of an acre of ground. Now I've got to buy the land first. So if that's $15,000 to $20,000 an acre, by the time I get to that point, I've got 40 grand or better in that lot before I get my money back. I hope I don't talk him out of this. That's the high risk in development anymore, is we think there's going to be a marketplace. And Mr. Pearson and Mr. Bacon, the reason for that TIF is it helps defray in the long term that cost. But it's not like the city doesn't get money right away. They do get sewer and water costs. But as you develop and you start getting into millions of dollars, my investment career, I've often felt the highest risk in development, in investment real estate, is development of land. You don't know how quick it'll go. It looks good in Lincoln and Omaha when you can sell out 60, 70 lots in a year. You know, there were times in North Platte, we built 15 homes. So you're sitting there, and I've experienced that with the Hoppies. I took over some of their management out in Lakeview Estates. We had 13 lots when I took over the family operation in 1983. For 18 years, it took us to sell those lots. We waited that long. Now, with all of that, you still have, once you subdivide it, that creates the entity that is developed, but you, boy, there's so much spent, you can't do all this at one time with the risk. If the marketplace would go bad, if the plant doesn't finish, wow. You know, at the same time, the corporation probably doesn't have enough money. You're paying a bank 6 to 7% interest on that while you're going on. So it's exponentially expensive. It's high risk. The thing I'd like to finish with is they've got a wonderful product. I've driven through it in Lincoln. I'm personally interested in these, but I think it's going to take some help that maybe in the community to help with this investment and purchase some of these to help that. But it's an awful lot of risk for a corporation to take on, and we should appreciate it more in the community that the people are taking that kind of risk. And I don't want to embarrass him. I know his wife was a North Platte girl, and if this doesn't work, I know he's going to come back Thanksgiving dinner, have to visit with his mother-in-law, so I know it's going to work. So, but I didn't want to remiss. I appreciate the service that I've had, but I forgot the last time in my career when I left your board, and it was a privilege and an honor to serve, and especially when they have people that work at the city like Judy and the other people. But I forgot to thank Mr. Bacon, because I'm not sure there's a project that hasn't been done in North Platte that he didn't have his fingerprints on, and he does a phenomenal job. And we're appreciative of what he's done. Just wish we get him to move to North Platte, because you notice what's happened in Gothenburg, and he's a large part of that. I've worked with him down there on corporations, and he helps them significantly too. So thank you, Western Nebraska, for Mr. Bacon. He brings the bacon home.
Any questions?
Should wear a jacket a lot less.
Yep, no question. Yep, sure.
Okay. I make a motion, we enthusiastically consider adoption of resolution 2023-6, recommending city council approval. The city council approves the redevelopment plan, adopts cost-benefit analysis and other matters relating to the Village Park Flats redevelopment project.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Mark? Okay, let's vote.
Wilkie?
Yes.
DeRosa?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Patterson? Mendenhall?
Yes.
Okay. Any other business this morning for this group? We're adjourned.